The wheel of time turns and ages come and pass, leaving memories that become legend. Welcome to Dragonmount. I'm Kathy Campbell.
I'm Rajiv Moté.
And I'm Maureen Carr. Today we are talking about episode 6 of season 2 of The Wheel of Time. This episode is called Eyes Without Pity. It was directed by Maja Villarvillo and written by Rami Park.
Whew, man. Rami Park just knocked it out of the park. This episode, the writing was...
nice.
Yeah, you like that? Yeah. Definitely was planned. This episode is so intense. You can tell that they are hurtling towards the end of season 2, and there was not a break or breather. Well, I was going to say not at all, but I mean, there kind of is one bit that was just kind of like lackluster in this episode. I bet Rajiv knows what I'm talking about.
I do, and we'll talk about that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, this was a tough episode, and the way I described it to you guys on Dragonmount was just there were so many things just going to hell, and there were, this episode has no catharsis. That catharsis comes later in the subsequent episodes. I saw on Twitter someone was mapping kind of episode numbers to the sort of classic screenwriting arcs, and episode 6 in an 8-episode series will usually map to sort of the all is lost phase of a screenplay, where all of the characters are at their lowest points. It seems like everybody is ground down, destined to fail, and the recovery then comes in the 7th and 8th episodes. Really, the 7th is the turnaround, and the 8th is the kind of denouement. But boy, was this a low point for our heroes?
Yes.
Yeah, in the best way. I think the acting in this episode is, like, just thinking about specifically Egwene's scenes, I have goosebumps just because I felt it more than I read the books. I think this episode in particular is one that is really showing the power that you can get from this visual medium in a way that the books weren't able to even begin to touch.
Right.
And
we should definitely talk about this when we deal with Egwene's scene.
Yeah.
But I think you want to save that for the end, because
yes,
it's sort of the opening and closing of this episode dealing with Egwene.
Exactly. So, yeah. Something I like about this show that it has been doing is it seems like the first part of the show is also touching with the endings of each episode. So it kind of sandwiches on either side. But we're not going to start there. Instead, we're going to start where last episode ended, with that gorgeous shot of the gorgeous Lanfear in that gorgeous costume on the gorgeous throne with the gorgeous man tied to a wheel, shall we?
And a beautiful desert, too.
And a beautiful desert, yes.
It was a beautiful desert.
Oh my gosh, seeing more of Lanfear's costume was everything to me. I love how completely different it is from anything else that we've seen. Like, obviously we saw a little bit of it before, but she just really woke up, but she went to sleep and was like, this is what I'm gonna wear. Boom, nailed it. Like, it, oh my gosh. And it makes it so much more dramatic with that wasteland and just that nothingness desert. I thought it was so powerful, the choices that they made there.
Yeah. And, there's that thing that's a very on-the-nose metaphor that she has Rand bound to the wheel of time.
Yeah.
And, that's, of course, her that's of course her point that she's making is you're a prisoner, and there was a way to get free of this, and that is something that Ishamael talked about in the previous episode. He wants to stop the wheel. That's he wants a sort of perverse moksha from the wheel of the cycle of rebirth. So,
and all he has to do is
thematic point.
He just has to ask to be released. You know, that's all he has to do. It'll happen. Yeah.
Well, I love that. I love that little interplay. It's like, you know, why should I trust you? And he kind of gestures at his bonds, and she goes, "Oh yeah," and then just releases him just like that, which played in two ways to me, and I'm not sure where I land on this. On one hand, she's manipulating him, which there is an aspect of that, but on the other hand, she really does seem to like want him to sympathize with her or wants him to trust her. So she's doing these terrible things, but she's also, there's almost this weird kindness about her when he's doing what she wants.
She wants him to want to do what she wants her to do. What she wants, she wants him to do. She wants him to join her on his own behalf, like wants it to be a partnership, obviously her above, but like wants to have this agreed upon in a way that obviously Ishii doesn't, which I love that Ishii is.
And she called him Ishii.
Yeah, that was so cute.
I love that. So now I feel even better about the fact that I can never say his name properly, so I will continue to call him Ishii, just like Lanfear does.
Just like Lanfear. And you know, this this power dynamic and this sort of wanting to be partners but in an unequal way will have some resonance with how Egwene's arc goes too, in a much more brutal fashion. But there are people trying to control other people in the weirdest ways in this episode. Indeed.
And Lanfear just wants Maureen out of the picture and will do whatever she can, including, you know, play with Rand in the dream world. And it clearly works. And Rand is also, I think, really frustrated with the truth that he is learning from Maureen. The fact that Logain, yes, she brought Logain to Kyrian because she wanted Rand there. These levels of manipulation that he knew she was doing but didn't really know, and it just keeps getting laid out more and more, and it's got to be frustrating.
It's kind of like Lanfear says, hey, Maureen's manipulating you from the shadows, I'm going to manipulate you right in front of your face. Like, which would you rather?
Like, at least I'm honest with my manipulation.
Right.
And they strike a bargain, right? So what Rand wants is to know where Ishamael is and what he's planning. And Lanfear says, okay, this is my condition. You do not stay near Moiraine, otherwise Moiraine dies. And that suits Rand just fine. He is someone who, like his predecessor life, Luz Theron, decides to go it alone many times and wants to leave behind his friends. Apparently he did that in his previous life as well.
Yeah. Something I saw online is this idea that the Forsaken or the Chosen, depending on what side you're on, are only calling Rand the Dragon, not the Dragon Reborn. And I think that, like, people are complaining, well, not everyone, but there are people that are making commentary and complaining that it's a mistake and that obviously this shouldn't be, like, this is written incorrectly. But it almost makes sense to me because the Forsaken are living in this like mindset world of everything is not just the current age, and the ability to see, you know, kind of what the bigger picture is. So of course it's going to be the dragon, because the dragon has always been reborn. It will keep
Lews
being
Therin
reborn.
was the dragon reborn too.
Yeah, and so
absolutely.
Just wanted to state that for the record that I think the writers might know what they're talking about and that everything is purposeful. But, you know, that's just me.
I think it works. It works for the cosmology that they've described here.
Indeed. So Rand is going to have another dream in this episode, though, which is much less happy, shall we say, I guess.
Well, it's an echo of the dream that we had in the first episode, wasn't it? Where
yeah, it was
Rand
almost
sees
exactly.
all of his friends dead at his own hands. And
with
this
the
time
Heron-marked sword, in fact.
Yeah. And this time we see that it's Ishamael who's created this dream. And he says, just wanted to show you where you're headed. This is the end point of the madness that comes from channeling the one power like you do without the Dark Lord's protection, of course. And so Ishamael is taunting Rand that way. But, wow. Lanfear appears.
Yeah.
And banishes Ishamael in a puff of smoke and says, what's the quotation? It's wonderful. If he doesn't want you here, you shouldn't be here, Ishi.
Ishi, dear, if he doesn't want you to be here, then you shouldn't be.
And she waves him away like smoke, which is really interesting. The Forsaken here, Ishamael is not... People aren't obsequious around Ishamael like they were in the books. He's got Suroth mouthing off to him. He's got...
he's kneeling down to
Turok.
Yeah.
And Lanfear is saying, yeah, of course I'm going to betray you, and is shoving him aside. But, you know, Ishamael knows what's going on. He is playing the long game, and he's not letting ego into it. So...
I mean,
I think this is all to a purpose.
I almost am wondering if Ishi is actually there at all, or if this was a creation that Lanfear made.
Maybe.
Just
Plots
because,
within plots.
Yeah, because the dream was the same. I can imagine it would be easier for Lanfear to kind of just pull it and repeat it. But why? You don't need to have anyone agree to do anything if you can just recreate him, and like then of course he'll leave. He won't cause any problems. It'll be
that's a good idea.
That perfect, you know, manipulation, and then she can come in and be all, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, you're right, why should you trust me, and be the perfect little girlfriend. And be like, look, I could show you anyone.
Well, and Lanfear's telling him that she's been the one protecting him all along. Like, ever since her release, she hasn't seen the fiery-eyed... Or he hasn't seen the fiery-eyed man in his dreams because of her protective hand.
Which is all the more reason that I think that...
it makes sense. That she might have been behind even Ishamael.
Yeah, in that part of the dream. Yeah,
but it's interesting. I was afraid for Rand for a moment because Lanfear admits she needs to give him a reason to trust her, and she says, "I will show you anyone. Just ask." Yeah. And Rand says, "Anyone?" I go, Rand, don't do it. She's gonna. But sure enough, she's good to her word to an extent, and she shows Rand Egwene. Egwene, who is a prisoner of the Shanshan right now, which we'll get to. And They don't really have the opportunity to exchange any meaningful information, but they are aware of each other. Rand almost touches her cheek, and then that's when Lanfear says, okay, that's enough of that.
Pulls
We're
it
coming back. Yeah, don't worry. I know where she is. She's a prisoner of Ishamael's, and I can help you. Yeah. So we know that Ishamael wants Rand to go to Falm, and even though Lanfear gave him a choice of who he wants to see, the way he chose it is pointing him directly at Falm.
Yeah.
Right.
So the threads are coming together.
Lanfear gave him a choice knowing who he would pick.
Sure.
She's not dumb. He is. But
he is, yeah.
Listen. Anyone.
That was a dangerous choice to make.
Yeah. Anyone that has been paying any attention to the show knows that he's not exactly the smartest person, and trusts very easily, even if he says that he's not trusting her. Obviously he did, but that's fine. I think this really sets up future seasons, but that's for the future. But obviously, because don't forget, none of these, he hasn't seen any of these people. He has no idea what is happening and what has happened, and is hoping that they're all safe, which is why he's shocked that she's not in the White Tower, because he trusted that, I left everybody so that they would be safe. And this whole idea of if I'm not there, then they're safe is kind of coming back to haunt him.
Mm-hmm.
Thoroughly debunked. And there's a wonderful scene later on where they talk about that. But he knows that the world has not been kind to his friends.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. But this way of manipulating that Lanfear does is way smarter than threatening, because he's going to do whatever he can to go and save. In fact,
he says that he'll do anything, and she gives this little smirk. She is very pleased about that. Lanfear feels like she now has leverage over Rand. She has reins to guide him.
Yep.
It made me wonder, though, if Rand is playing her a little bit. There was truly emotion there, but I think he's making his own play, and he's being vulnerable in a way that makes Lanfear soft for him.
I think there's definitely a small little bit of that. I don't think he's really thought as I don't think we can give him too much credit.
Well, it's the statement he made in the last episode where not everything between them was a lie. I think he's leaning into the real feelings that he has for her and she has for him, and is kind of using that to
definitely
make sure that he's safe and she's with him in a way.
Yes, and using the knowledge that Lews Therin and her had that relationship and that affair, and that's why she turned to the shadow. There's definitely some presence of mind. I don't think it's too over, 2 days to Mar going on, because he's not quite.
No, he's not a mastermind at a Shara board. He's just doing the best he can at this point.
Yes.
And forces that are far more powerful than him. But he's giving it the old college try.
Exactly.
And then his next stop is
I was going to say,
back to Logain.
Speaking of a game board, Logain is playing Stones.
He's playing Stones. That was a nice little reference.
A nice little nod, which is Go in our world. And Logain's playing himself, I'm guessing. or one of the
maybe one of his memories.
One of the voices in his heads.
Right.
Either way, he knows that Rand would be back.
And Rand is ready to bargain with him too. Rand says, "I want to be taught," and Logain says, "Why?" And Rand says, "Look, you thought you could make a difference. You thought you could change the world, and now I'm your only vehicle to do that. You can work with me, help me win, and that will, give you some influence over the world, or you can just rot in this insane asylum."
Yeah.
So that convinces Logain.
Yeah. And he pushes him and is like, "Look, you got to embrace the sword." Like, I love that. Logain's pushing Rand, and Rand embraces, and he's like, "No, you need to grab it.
Don't surrender to it. You need to surrender. Seize I did. Yeah.
Yeah. And you
which is a nice nod to the books.
Yeah. And you start seeing the like black start to weave in.
The corruption.
The corruption is coming in, and it gets bigger and bigger, and all of a sudden Logain it switches, and he starts being scared, and he's like, "Oh no, this is not good. You gotta stop, slow down, wait, and then
nobody takes that much power. Stop it, you'll burn yourself out." And it's obvious that Rand is much more powerful than even Logain thought. And but then of course Rand is just a beginner, so he stops channeling, he vomits, he says, "We don't have enough time. I can't learn this fast enough." And Logain basically tells him that you have so much power that you can fight anyone. You don't even need that much training.
Yeah.
You just have raw strength. Don't know how well that's going to serve him, but...
it's funny that was Morain's advice as well.
Right?
Yeah.
At the Eye of the World. She's like, yeah, you're just going to do what you need to do.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it.
Just let the wheel, the wheel's gonna move around you. It'll be fine.
Right.
Everything's fine. It's all fine.
and we should mention that is probably the ethos that keeps Moraine from following Rand, sticking to him.
Yeah.
Saying, okay, I decided to trust this. I decided to let fate take us where we go. And even though this is terrifying, I'm going to let this happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And he starts to leave, and here's a voice.
Oh, I loved this. And should we segue right into the Matt scenes? Because he hears his old friend who's gambling in the foregate of Carrion, and it's wonderful. It's a reunion.
This
that
reunion
was better than I had thought.
Me too.
Yes.
They give each other a hug. All is
Matt's
forgiven.
wiping his face because he's crying.
Tears
I know,
away.
right?
Yes.
Oh, my heart can't take it.
Gosh.
So beautiful.
It was beautiful.
Then
and they
when
say
he says
just the right things.
Where's everyone else? Because of course
Yeah.
Matt left when everyone else left Matt. So here's just like Rand was expecting everyone else to be where he left them. Matt's expecting Rand to be with everybody that he left.
You guys won, right? You came back.
Yeah, hooray! You're still alive.
And you're the Dragon Reborn, and it's all right.
Congratulations! Yeah.
And then they have this lovely exchange because both Rand and Matt have basically abandoned their friends, thinking that they were better off. And then Matt reassures Rand, hey, we weren't better off without you. And Rand basically says, back at you, bro.
Right.
And they're saying, no, we need you. We need each other. This is good. We're old friends. We traveled together. We don't want to be alone, and we don't want to not have you around. And that was such a lovely bit of healing, which of course falls apart.
Yeah.
Right?
Am I jumping the gun here?
Only a little bit, but that's okay.
A little bit, yeah. So Rand tells Matt that he does know that Ishamael is keeping Egwene a prisoner in Falm, and you don't have to come with me, but I'm gonna go rescue her. And Matt's like, "Shut up, man! I gotta keep the dragon reborn from becoming an arrogant prick."
Who else is going to keep you from becoming an arrogant prick? Dragon Reborn. I don't know how he did that voice, but it was so funny. It was so Matt.
Mm-hmm.
It's
so
this
cute.
is exactly what they all needed to hear.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
That we're together. We're coming together. I've got your back. No way I'm going to leave you. No way I'm going to abandon you. And he says, first I got to go break a heart. And that's when he visits Min. And
who, by the way, previously had a dream visitation from the one and only Ishi. Just kind of like, hey, you got him here. Good job. Congratulations. Now,
just got one more thing I need you to do before.
By the way, one more thing. Yeah, just one more little thing. It'll be fine, and then I will, break your curse. Listen,
so
none of these people, the bad guys, will never do what you think they're gonna do.
Mm-hmm.
And they'll never make good on a bargain.
No, never.
And Min's good with that. She says, that's how bargains work. I did this for you. You give me what you want. Unfortunately not. Yeah. So Ishamael wants Min to make sure that Matt leaves with Rand. He's pointing all of them towards Falm. And Min objects. He says, I had this viewing. You know about this. Matt kills Rand with that ruby-hilted dagger. And, I don't want that to happen. She says, just make sure they leave together. That's the terms of the bargain. And so Matt confronts Min and quickly susses out that she was playing him all along, even before they met. Even when they first met in the cell, she was planted there. She was being used to get him and Rand together somehow, and she reveals the viewing she had about Matt with the dagger killing Rand, and says and she tells him, if you love him, stay away from him. Yeah. So now Matt has to do the heartbreaking thing after saying that of course I need you, we're better off with you. He has to give Rand the slip again.
Ugh.
So heartbreaking.
And it's so heartbreaking. Yeah. And Min is absolutely gut-wrenched with this betrayal. You can see that she did not expect to like him, did not expect to want to be friends, and that's so difficult.
Matt is so angry with her, and he feels betrayed, and he throws it in her face. And, his teeth are bared as he's talking with her, and she's just crushed. She's sitting on the floor drinking. She doesn't want any of this, but that's what happens when you make a deal with the Dark One. Right?
Exactly. And you see Rand pacing at the front gates, and Matt is hiding in a building, just watching. Yeah. And you could see he's trying to figure out if he's gonna. He looks so sad. He looks almost as sad as he did when he left Egwene crying.
Yeah.
And that's
a theme now, right? He's just not quite being there.
Yeah, the third time now that he has betrayed his friends.
Yeah.
And
which is what makes me really hopeful for like a Han Solo in Star Wars final thing where
don't give it away.
I'm not giving it away. Happen. I'm just saying what I hope for.
I'm hopeful. Yeah, let's get that redemption arc.
Let's get that. Yeah.
Yes. And Rand looks disappointed and just kind of nods and is like, "All right, alone it is.
Mm.
And Matt watches him walk away, and it's so sad, except then Rand meets somebody else.
Yeah. So let's talk about Lan.
Oh gosh. Okay, so this is the part that at this beginning we were talking about was lackluster. Lan is such a, I don't even know how to describe his character in this season other than bland. It has nothing to do with his long hair, his hair being down, anything like that. Like, he was warning. Like, I don't know what they're doing with him.
So this is the thing, and I know that some of the debates have revolved around defining masculinity and things like that, but let's take that out of the equation. Book Lan was the deadliest man alive.
Mm-hmm.
Strong to a fault. The arrogance of a king with an army at his back, I think is the quotation used. And he's just so ineffectual now. Outside of his relationship with Maureen and his sort of being her warder, he doesn't have an identity anymore. And it's really kind of painful to see for people who liked the character in the books. So right now what's happening is he's met up with Alana and her two warders, and they are traveling presumably on their way to Tarvalon, and they make camp in apparently what used to be a temple to the Forsaken.
I mean, it still is a temple to the Forsaken, just nobody goes to it.
Well, yeah. Fair enough. And Lan is asking after the Amerlin. He wants to know where the Amerlin is. And then they make camp, and Alana seems to be having fun with one of her warders, as she is wont to do, and Lan's just kind of rolling around in his cloak outside, and finally he decides to leave, and that's when Maxim stops him. Says, "Where are you going, friend?" And then Ivan shows up and says, "Yeah, where are you going, friendo?" And
what's up, buddy?
Yeah. And Len is he wants to leave. The warders draw a little bit of steel, and right before Lan can attack and prove himself the absolute better warrior than two of them combined, Alana wraps him up in flows of air, and they all accuse him of being a dark friend sworn to Lanfear because of the dark prophecy that they found in his saddlebags, which was something that Moraine had gotten from Bail Doman. When she got he was trying to sell her a fragment of the seal that had broken. Yep. So they took that to mean that he is a dark friend, he serves Lanfear, and they need to police him.
And that he's leaving to go and try and release her or get something.
Be evil, yes.
Yeah, and this scene honestly confused me. I was like, what on earth is going on? Because it never even occurred to me that they would accuse him of being a dark friend. I was like, why is this tension? Where is this coming from? What's going on? And I was completely baffled. I was like, what? They can't possibly think he's a dark friend. That makes no sense. It was really funny.
Nobody trusts Lan. Nobody trusts that he can be strong enough to survive without Moraine, and nobody trusts that he even serves the light. It's a really sad state of affairs.
It wasn't until they started repeating the blood calls blood part of the poem that I was like, oh, that's why. Yeah. I wonder if for non-readers, if this moment, if you understood it sooner, I'd be really interested to know that.
Yeah.
But Alana is just like, look, you tried to figure out where the Mirlin was. Why?
Yeah, for assassination.
Like, are you trying to kill her? Like, you got to tell us the truth, Outland Mandragoran. Oh gosh, I can't. Yeah. Or we will kill you where you stand.
Yeah.
And then his
so
answer,
low.
though, we have found the Dragon Reborn. Not me, not Moraine, not I. Like, we have found the Dragon Reborn. And that's just like, oh, dang.
Yeah. But again, he's spilling the beans on this quest that he's been on for 20 years and knows he's got to keep private because you can't trust anybody. And, you know, he's just, well, okay, I guess I better let Alana be the boss.
Well, I think, though, I think it's the fact that they were going to kill a warder because they thought that he was a dark friend. I think that is an understanding that, okay, you're not Black Aja.
Okay, yeah, so he can trust them.
Fair enough.
I think that's where that came from. I don't necessarily think it was just oh, you caught me. Okay, here's what's going on, so much as look, you knew what you were like, you are not necessarily safe, but this is somebody else to bring into this circle to help us get to Swan.
And there is some urgency here, so
yeah,
absolutely.
And then we have this beautiful scene of Swan, you know, writing correspondence in the carriage, like you do in the dark. Can you, okay, real quick, we need to take a little bit of a sidebar, but does she not get like nauseous or like how do you write in a carriage in the dark with candles and like a dip pen?
Well, you know how in the books Aes Sedai through a mental discipline can ignore heat and cold? In the adaptation, they can write in a moving carriage.
Okay.
With candles as
Okay,
it works.
excellent.
That's my theory, at
Nope.
least.
Totally valid. Totally valid. So obviously someone's coming here. We got to get ready. And she preps. And I loved her crown of swords.
Oh my God. I loved it.
You know what it
so
reminded
amazing.
me of in Thor Ragnarok, Hela? When she has that big headdress that like turns into weapons and stuff like that.
Oh my gosh. It was
That's what it reminded me
so
of.
cool.
Yeah,
That
so
was
She's got
impressive.
these blades of air hovering around her in a halo.
I want
ready
it so
to
bad.
just pierce whoever comes out. It was super cool.
so cool.
That's going to be
And
my
then-
cosplay
False
this
alarm.
year.
Yes, do it. It's just Lan. What's happened? What is it? It's Moraine. Okay. Drop everything. Let's go to Kyrian and hang out because
It's not suspicious for the Amerlin to all of a sudden come to Carrion
Right?
and visit a sister that's been exiled. Not suspicious at all.
Not at all. But also, okay, are we there? Are we going there? Are we gonna drop to Moraine?
I think we're there.
Like-
She's writing letters now that
Okay.
Rand has left her, and we get an answer that the folks online have been debating. Has Moraine been shielded, or has she been stilled?
Okay, to be fair, she is. To be fair, this is an unreliable narrator. She could still be stilled, or she could still just be shielded.
Shielded.
And thinks that she's stilled.
Yeah.
But she's writing a letter.
Yeah.
Constantly.
Presumably to Siwan, right?
Right.
It does say
That's
dearest.
who we think she's writing.
Yeah, it
Yes.
does say dearest Siwan at one
the
point.
end of this section.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah,
cool.
but she's writing and it's failing. I like how they did the overlay of the text here to see how it's writing, and especially because whatever language they're writing in is not English.
Yeah.
It's not
Randline script.
Yeah. And so having it typed over, and Barthanes comes in and brings a sandwich to his auntie, which is so cute.
And you remember, Auntie, I used to have the best butter, you said, and I thought it was because of the cow. I had a beautiful cow, but of course that cow's probably dead now, so it couldn't be that. But I still made you a sandwich, Auntie, because I love you.
Wow, that was impressive. I hope you audition for the next season, Rajiv.
Yeah, that was beautiful.
I'm hoping,
Yeah.
No, but so Barthenos has come to entreat Maureen, and it's at his mother's urging. And when Maureen is rude and dismisses him, he kind of meets his mom in the hallway and says, you were right about her. So then
she comes in and has a hissy fit to her sister.
I mean, this is family drama is alive and well in the Demodred household.
Yup.
Maureen, when her father was dying, Maureen's father asked for her, even though Anavir was right there holding his hand. Daddy always loved you best, and you didn't even come. We sent a letter to the White Tower, and you just ignored it. You let your father die even as he was asking for you.
What was so important?
We know that it's her quest for the Dragon Reborn, but here's the cost. Here's the cost of her single-minded mission, that people who would have been her supporters and people who loved her were pushed to the wayside, just as Lan was pushed to the wayside.
But Lan, it's kind of funny that Lan spills the beans and then Maureen doesn't.
Yeah. You push him over and he just falls.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes sense,
That's
though.
fine.
She still can't trust, especially with whatever things might happen based off of our book knowledge.
Right.
But the, sister is just like, okay, fine. Well, you need to get out of here because...
Get out of this house, get out of the city, yeah.
Yeah, and Maureen instead is like, no, I'm the elder sister. I am the Demodred heir. Yeah. Suck it.
You live here on my grace.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, man, this is harsh.
Yeah, she's got the arrogance that Lan lost, double.
Yeah.
Totally. She stole his arrogance.
Yeah.
So...
The last bit
rejoinder.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's rough right there. We don't even know this history,
right?
It's not in the books or anything.
You are mother through and through. Oh,
you've taken none of the goodness of our father. You are mother through and through.
Oh, just
wow,
dripping.
We don't know that history, but we know that cuts deep.
Yeah, we don't need to know it to know how bad that is. And Maureen comes back just clearly emotionally drained, and that was really hard for her to deal with, and is now going to write, "Dearest Swan, something has happened to me. I have been stilled," is what I'm guessing that she says.
One presumes, and she gives it to the faithful Demodred butler, and says, "Put this in the hands of the Blue Aja." So she's being careful how her messages are being sent.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, one thing on that note is maybe they're writing in a cipher, because she wouldn't just put "I'm stilled" for anybody to see. I mean, it's got to be a cipher only her and Suan know.
Yeah, it's using the same letters and writing script that Jessica and Varen were looking at in the last episode. It might be a cipher, but not. But
the writing is not a cipher.
Letters. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Right. The script isn't a cipher.
Yeah, the script isn't a cipher.
We can assume she's being discreet.
Yeah.
But what's interesting is she does go and apologize to Barthenos.
Yeah, she feels bad.
Before when she flinched back when he tried to hold her hands, now she accepts a hug.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And
I hope that's not a mistake. I know there's speculation about one or both of those Demodreds being dark friends or doing something, but I hope this is her trying to be a good person.
Yeah, I don't know.
And, I mean, she goes, I think you'll make a wonderful king, kind and thoughtful, a king to make our house proud, which is
Please
sweet.
don't be irony.
Yeah. So we'll see. But then, surprise, the Immune seat is there and demanding an audience with 14 eyes
with her. Yeah.
I did not get a chance to go through and see who we recognize in the
I mean, we had Jessica there, we had Viren there.
Yeah, Viren I saw. And
Leandrin obviously there, and makes a quip that, last time then Amerlin visited, we changed the ruler, we changed the king of Caelid.
We put a new Sun King on the throne.
Right. But this is this is interesting, and we'll talk about the books at the end of the episode. But it seems we have a scene like this that's just been moved a little bit.
Yeah, but okay, how did they all get there? Because
the Amtrak
wasn't.
I don't know.
The Immune wasn't in the tower.
She was in Camelin.
That's true. Yeah. And we know that Leandrin and Varen and all of them were in. You know what? I wonder if this is just how we're getting everyone to foam.
Right.
Just kind of gathering that all together.
They might all go there.
Yeah.
But, behind the scenes, pigeons were sent. Meet me here. I'm en route. Where are you at? Okay. There I am.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm thinking in this world, the cities are a lot closer. Because when Rand and Moraine were fleeing Lanfear, they're on the road to Tar Valon from Kirian. And it seemed like it was close.
Yeah, it was the same night.
They doubled back, though, but
Yeah, but she, the stable lady was in the view of Tar Valon.
Yeah,
and Dragonmount. That would make sense. The
horses are that good, even though they're still
there's no
so
way.
It's within a day's ride. I mean, even a night's ride.
Wow. Yeah. Well, I mean, it just to be within sight of Tar Valon. Yeah, I don't know.
I don't think we can interrogate that too closely. Back in the Game of Thrones days, Varys could go from coast to coast instantaneously. It just happens.
Yeah. But we get to see another gorgeous swan outfit. And I cannot wait to see what happens, because obviously I don't know about you, but I was not expecting Moraine and Swan to see each other again. I mean, obviously we saw in the trailer a little bit of something, but it looked like it was from the past
or something.
Yeah. So it might still be a flashback. I'm not sure, but either way, I'm exciid.
Well, we don't see it this episode.
I know, right? So disappointing.
We don't, 'cause that's it. That's all we saw with them.
Now, Leandrin made an appearance here, but we actually, earlier in the episode, there is a scene dedicated to Leandrin. Should we talk about that?
Yeah, let's. Lanfear also shows up. And, but first, Leandrin is, like, singing to her son, being emotional, and Selene comes in. Now I'm saying it's Selene, not Lanfear, because of the eye makeup. I think that's
and the long hair
and the long hair.
Got the long hair there, which
so
I prefer, by the way. But okay, that's just
you know what? Nobody cares if you like longer hair. You can grow your hair out longer. That's totally fine.
Just saying.
Yeah. So Leandrin hears somebody behind her and whips around and shoots a fireball that, of course, Selene just dissolves. And
first one's free.
Yeah. That was so funny. And Lanfear is just like, look, I've seen your dreams. You're weird. I don't know what you're thinking.
You have interesting fixations.
Yes.
I love, which is obviously Nynaeve.
Yeah. And you hate men. Why do you work for Ishi? Like, with one exception at least, and is like carefully petting the son's head, kind of in a weird way, and it's just like, you know, she knows why Leandrin swore the oaths. She knows, like, and is going to manipulate Leandrin however she can, obviously. Because
so you swore the oaths to the dark, not to Ishamael. So you're gonna serve the dark
by serving
by
me.
the way, the leverage that Ishamael had over you to help your son here, well, he hasn't made good on that, has he? And you know what? I'm gonna remove that leverage.
because it
kills him.
Here we learn that she swore her oaths to keep him alive.
That's really interesting. I mean, that's so human.
So interesting. So human. And so we know, also we learn in this that she was beaten and starved and married before she bled. And I'm guessing that marriage is where the son came from.
And the hatred of men, I'm sure.
Obviously. And so she was black after she had her child. But that had to have been... So she became Aes Sedai after she was married, because there's no way that you could be forced to marry as an Aes Sedai, or even
Well, she could have been very young.
Right.
I mean, if you think about women sold into marriage, they can be very, very young.
Right. Well, and that's what I'm saying is
pre-puberty.
They're not Aes Sedai, which means that she wasn't sent to the tower until after she had had a child. Is what I'm guessing.
Yes. Yeah.
And so this kind of fits the timeline idea of, you know, this hatred of men and why she still loves, you know, her son, even though she's going around and hating men. I know there was a theory that he must have been a channeler and that's why she was keeping him. But honestly, I think it's just the only true love that she's ever had.
Yeah.
Because obviously her parents didn't
love her. That's the one thing that is mine.
Yeah.
That belongs to me. I take that at face value.
Yeah. But she can't even watch him die. Like, that is so sad. Like, the emotional distraught. And
Leandrin is watching her do it as she takes the breath out of his lungs.
Oh, she's not watching.
Powerless to do anything.
She would not.
Her facial expression. Yeah, her facial expression. She knows what's happening.
She knows it's happening, but can't watch, and it's just so much, so hard. Maureen, I have to ask.
Yes.
Do you still think that this is a long con?
Maybe. Well,
wow.
No, my theory was that she was forced to have this baby for the shadow, and forced to have the baby was kind of right.
I mean, not necessarily forced to have the baby, but forced to marry and have sex. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. The other stuff, maybe not. I'm still holding out hope.
No, that's a good. It's a good.
I think this is headcanon right now.
I like it. I like it.
You can make it work, but we're never going to see it on screen.
No, it'll just be in your brain forever.
Yeah, that's okay. No, but I did like this reveal. I think it made a lot of her motivation not so weird. Because it's like her motivation was just like so wonky. So having a son and wanting to, joining the dark to save him. And she could have even joined the dark when he was a baby. Like, what if he was sickly as a child?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so she's, 15-year-old girl with this little baby. Like, what do I do? I don't know what to do. Reach out to the dark. So I definitely think that this made her more bearable, in my opinion.
Well, especially too, the sickness, whatever, I don't remember what it was, but Nynaeve recognized it and recognized that it was in his heart. Mm-hmm. And so it's entirely possible that it's a genetic condition that he had. And so as a 15-year-old girl, is like, I will do whatever it takes.
Definitely.
And we know that the aging, like, obviously 20-year-olds can go to the tower, since that's when they're, so it works out, the timeline.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Timeline
I mean, even just looking at Elaine, she's about that age.
Yeah. Interesting. Well, and then she pops over to be sassy to Swan, so, she's fine.
Yeah, but why would she join Lanfear? Like, when Lanfear's like, oh, you sold your soul to keep him alive, well, I'm just going to kill him for you.
Because, because here's the thing, is that wasn't, Ishii betrayed her trust.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, she's alive, but he's alive, but he's not living. He's in pain constantly.
Mm-hmm.
After a certain amount of time, that pain no longer is worth it.
Mm-hmm.
But you can't sit and kill your own child that you have done all of this for. And so, just like she said,
Lanfear was doing this, as almost like a favor, a gift that only a woman can grant another.
Yeah.
I think there's another aspect here, which, happens in the books a little bit, is that the Forsaken will snap you up, and they will scoop you up, and they'll say, okay, you're serving me now.
Mm-hmm.
What? Yeah. You are you objecting for some reason? I don't need to hear that. You're serving me now. Mm-hmm. And you just do.
And I want you. I have a better idea of what you're gonna do. So you need to come and work for me, because obviously you're being wasted. Nobody here knows what they're talking about. So you need to. And
who are you to countermand any of these things? I mean, it may not be fair. It may not be coherent or consistent. But when somebody of that power comes and says, "Okay, you're working for me now," you say yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. And then she trots off to go play with Swan and the rest of the Aes Sedai for some reason. We will find out maybe next week.
I hope so.
Or not. I hope
Better
so.
be.
Yeah. I feel like that feels like a really good penultimate episode before what we think will happen at the end.
Yeah.
So let's check back at the Shanshan court where...
Speaking of Thom...
heartbreaking stuff going on.
Oh my goodness.
Our pal Loyal, the Ogier.
And pretty boy Ingtar.
And Ingtar with the guy liner. They're waiting on High Lady Surath and a bunch of other sort of giggling and laughing Shanshan nobles. And they are servants. No, they're worse than servants, because
they're
Surath
property.
Surath calls Loyal an it.
Yes.
I should gift it to Turok.
Yeah.
But first she has him perform like a dancing monkey. She says, "I want you to sing." And Loyal kind of says, "Okay, well, tree singing is nah, come on, sing." And there's this like little bonsai tree in the middle of their little party there. And he begins to sing in this beautiful bass rumble, and the tree begins to grow. And it's interesting watching the Shanshan nobles, because they're starting to look at it with some awe. Like, this is something that is beautiful and magical and wondrous. But then Surath kind of breaks that spell.
Yeah, she sees that spell and is like, I was supposed to be making fun of him. Yeah. I was trying to...
You were a parlor trick. You are not... Yeah. You're not more than
real
that.
Emotions aren't important. And it's like, oh, yay! I want to give him as a gift to Turok. How shall I gift it? Like, just,
Yeah.
Owning the group, which, it makes
terrible
sense.
Terrible debasement of something wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
And again... trees are a theme here. We'll see with Egwene again.
Yeah, but she's trying to get. She's like the biggest bully in the schoolyard. She has been, completely denounced and ruined, and has to find entertainment by herself because she can't do it with the rest of the blood, so she has to do with her own people.
She's got to grow her fingernails back
before she's acceptable. I forget the word that they used.
Presentable.
Presentable, yes. Thank you. Saving the day again, Maureen. And they leave instead. Loyal and Ingtar leave, and Ingtar has a tray, which everyone knows. Anytime you've seen any sort of spy movie or escape from anything,
nobody questions the delivery guy.
No one questions a servant that is carrying a tray of food because it's got to go somewhere, obviously. Yeah. And so they're learning. Loyal is learning what Ingtar has discovered, and that the horn is just in a treasure trove somewhere. It's not even guarded. But Loyal also asks about Egwene, and is like, dude, there's so many people guarding this area. There's no way. Guarded. They call it the kennels.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my gosh. And then Loyal says, there is steel underneath that sweet exterior. If anyone can survive that place, it's her. And I just got so sad.
Let's hope so.
Yeah.
But before we talk about her, let's visit in with Nynaeve and Elaine, who are laying low in Raima Sade's house with her warder. And they're hiding out from the Shan. And they are, of course, in typical book fashion, they are bickering. Nynaeve is calling Elaine princess. That's her insult for Elaine. And finally the warder comes in and says, I can hear you from all the way downstairs.
And Raima's like, he listen. He just likes lecturing. I love their relationship. It's so sweet.
Yeah.
And I like
there was a look, which we'll get to, but there's a look that passes between them that's just wonderful.
Yeah. And
this is a great couple.
And Raima recognizes that Nynaeve is wearing a wisdom belt, which I thought was really neat.
Yeah.
This I loved this, and we can move ahead a little bit on this. But Raima's Yellow Aja, so she's a healer. This is Nynaeve's area of interest. She's a wisdom. They connect right off based on that these berries. I forgot which berries were they, but.
Eldenberries? Eldenberries?
I think so, yeah.
Could be, yeah. And so Raima recognizes that Nynaeve is a wisdom, says, you know what these do. This is what this is for. And then later on, when they're trying to channel, she basically says, it's just like when you have a patient. You don't question it or try to figure out, you just heal them. You're just there for them.
Yeah, and this
is the same advice.
And Maureen, that connects with Nynaeve.
I remember Maureen said that to Rand, and Logain said that to Rand, and so now somebody's saying it to Nynaeve, which is just kind of funny.
Yeah.
You're just going to do it.
And she's saying that to Nynaeve when they have a dam. They have this collar and bracelet that are what make the Damane, and they're gonna try.
Well, that gets brought out after Raima realizes that she wants to. At first, she learns from Nynaeve and Elaine that Liandrin is a dark friend. She has broken all 3 oaths. Elaine says, and that means that the Black Aja is real. And the tower is in terrible danger.
All the
so
sisters.
The first thing Raima wants is, hey, I know a ship captain. Ooh, so do we. He'll take you to Tarvalon, and you've got to take this news directly to the Amyrlin.
And they're like, not without it.
Elaine says, nope. Our first mission, we're going to save our friend. We're going to save Egwene. And so Rima relents and says, okay, I've got this Adam here. This is what's keeping her prisoner. We need to figure it out.
Yep.
And luckily, Elaine, who's a tinkerer, knows and can analyze some things. She identifies it as a terangriel.
Yeah, but she's not the one that notices that talks about what
its
happens
purpose.
With it.
Yeah.
Right. And it's a scary statement that Nynaeve makes when she finally is able to channel, and she channels a little too much.
Yup.
She says that, oh yeah, this needs to be healed. This thing needs to be healed, and the only way it can be healed is to be put around a woman's neck.
Ugh.
So bizarre.
And, what an evil thing.
Yeah.
For this thing to be whole, it needs to enslave someone.
Yeah.
Making it the most evil of artifacts.
Yeah, definitely.
And
so,
this is bad because the jolt of power that shoots from Nynaeve is enough to acknowledge that there is a channeler here.
Yeah, so they're all around Thom. Suldam and Damani are patrolling, looking for women who can channel, and this is enough to attract the attention. So first Rima says, okay, I have these rings. The reason I got this Adam is because 3 of my sisters fell for me to get it. And it looks like a gray, a green, and a blue Aja ring. The blue and the gray died.
Yep.
The green and the gray died.
The green and the gray, yeah.
They were killed, and the blue one was taken, and it was a friend of Rima's, and she's distraught over it, of course. But after they realize that the Shanshan are after them, Rima takes off her own yellow ring and entrusts it to Nynaeve and calls her sister.
Yeah.
Which is such a quietly powerful moment.
And can I trust you to give my ring to the flame?
Yeah.
To make sure that it's returned.
I'm gonna die.
Yeah.
So
and she
take this. And if you want to save your friend, you will not lift a finger, because they are after a channeler. I will give them a
channeler. And Rima's we can't, this moment, this last chunk of scenes is done so incredibly layered with Egwene scenes and so emotional, and
so it's interleaved in a wonderful way.
Absolutely beautifully done. It's so brutal, and yet there's these moments that are so glorious. The wink that Rima gives to her warder before the soldiers come.
They go out like champs. They go out to the door. She winks at him. He draws his sword, and the warder goes after the soldiers. And God, Rima is brutal with the one power. Now,
oh my gosh!
For anyone who's wondering about 3 oaths violations, the one power can be used as a weapon in defense of an Aes Sedai's life or her warder. And that's definitely what's happening right now. And you can see Rima like breaking every bone in the Suldam's body, folding her in half, crumpling her.
Yeah,
but
and then the Damani
they are fighting.
And the Damani feeling it double.
The Damani feels it,
right?
Because we'll talk about the rules of the Adam, but
but she doesn't do that until she tries to get her warder to kill her first, so that she's not captured.
Yes,
and right before he gets killed, and that is when she just loses her shit, and she's just like, "No, I got this," and it's only at that last heartbreaking moment that she is screaming when she gets collared, and I just, oh my gosh.
Devastating.
And with the collaring, we've been talking about this kind of out of order of the episode. We've been seeing Egwene's scenes as she is broken toward the Adam. So we know just how bad this thing is that's about to happen to Rima, because we're seeing it unfold across the episode, and it's harrowing. This is disgusting brutality that the Shanchan inflict.
And speaking of which, let's head on over there, shall we?
Yeah, hold on. Why do you think Rima didn't try to kill herself?
Because she probably couldn't.
Yeah, you don't think you could create a dagger out of air and stab your heart?
I don't think. Because I think that would be using a weapon, not to protect yourself.
You think so? So that would be a violation of the three oaths.
Yeah, I don't.
I wonder if she could have drawn enough power to burn herself out, but she's in the heat of combat.
Also, who knows what she wanted to make sure that Elaine and Nynaeve weren't injured.
That's true.
And so that's
she
so
didn't become a
unreliable.
liability. So,
Yep. And so that's the plan. Unfortunately, it didn't work very well. Obviously.
So let's go to maybe for me, it was the most difficult sequence of this episode. Scenes of people being broken, systematically broken, are very tough for me to deal with, and this was all of that.
With a smile on her face too.
Well, completely dehumanizing, right? So we have this. So let's explain the dynamics for people who don't read the books. The Shanchan have this system where there are Suldam, which are women who basically wear a bracelet that is connected through the one power to the collar, and this bracelet and collar system is called an Adam, or as they call it, the Adam. I'll pronounce it the way I've heard it before, but Adam. And this system allows the Suldam to control the Damani, who is the collared one. The Damani is the one who can channel. And this device basically creates a system of punishments and control such that the Suldam who's wearing that bracelet can control and direct the Damani to use the power however the Suldam deems fit.
And with an ability to be protected from that power being used on them. As displayed beautifully, flawlessly.
So there are 4 lessons that Egwene learns through this sequence in a very brutal fashion. So lesson 1 is that a Suldam's pain is felt twice over by the Damani, even unto death. So, the Damani needs to make sure that the Suldam is protected, even from herself. Like if she tries to punch the Suldam or attack the Suldam isn't going to feel anything, but it's going to rebound with twice the intensity on the Damani. So, this is one level of control. Lesson 2 is that a Damani cannot remove the Adam or even touch it, to try to open it. Otherwise, she'll be met with excruciating pain. Lesson 3 is a Damani cannot touch the Adam's bracelet. So sometimes the Suldam will take off the bracelet and just hang it on the wall. If a Damani tries to grab that bracelet, she gets excruciating pain. And then lesson 4 is, and this is where the control really happens over the course of the episode. If a Damani imagines that an object can be used as a weapon, especially against a Suldam, she cannot touch it without being tortured, without the collar just, delivering a lot of pain.
Completely recoiling. The noise that they have which is kind of like the collar powering up, almost like that vibration is perfect. Once again, they are absolutely nailing the Foley work and the sound effects in this, because you know exactly when that comes in the future, you know what it means. You know just what it's causing, and it's horrifying. And then you layer on that to the American accent. It's just horrifying. Absolutely horrifying. Oh my gosh. It's so...
Rena opens by saying she wants to cultivate a friendship with Egwene because, you know, that's how they work best. So tell me your name. And Egwene refuses and says, I'm going to have to hurt you, I'm afraid, if you don't, you know, obey my commands. So what's your name? And then that's another thing that the bracelet can do, is it can deliver pain as the Sul'dam wishes. And finally, Egwene has to relent and give her a name. So, oh, what a nice name! It's kind of a nice name. Maybe I'll let you keep it. And so, you know, we talked about back when we were talking about Lanfear and Rand, and Lanfear kind of making this accommodation where she's got a partnership with Rand, even though we know that she wants to be in total control. I think that's mirrored in a more brutal, raw way between this. This is what the Sul'dam-Damani relationship is a master and dog relationship. You know, they call the prison where they're kept kennels. These are not humans. Rena tells Egwene, oh, you shouldn't think of yourself as a woman. You're a Damane. That's subhuman. It's terrifying.
It's absolutely horrifying. This whole ownership and the pride that Rena is taking on getting to do this training, this teaching, this moment of, oh, you know, oh, sweetie, hi, like, let me give you this, you know, the carrot first. I don't want to have to use the stick, but I will if I need to. That there
are
power.
Sticks all around you, but
all
you know,
around
we're gonna just work with me here. And the most insidious and evil thing is it actually has echoes to Orwell's 1984. Is where that last rule where a Damani cannot touch an object that she thinks of as a weapon. There is a pitcher of water in a cup. That's the only thing in the cell where Egwene is being kept. And Egwene imagines, as Rena knew she would, she imagines taking that pitcher and smashing her over the head and beating the hell out of Rena. And so when Rena comes, she tries to do that, and the Adam immediately starts torturing her. And that's when Rena tells her, yeah, you can't do that. You can't touch this pitcher if you're thinking of it as a weapon. And so every time she visits, Rena says, okay, fill up my cup with some water. And it, of course, tortures Egwene every time she tries to reach the pitcher because she's thinking of it as a weapon. And the idea is you will not be able to touch this until you just completely abandon the idea that you are going to hurt me in any way. You are my dog. You will obey me. You will not even think of harming me, or you will suffer. So every time, fill my cup, fill my cup, fill my cup. And it's like in 1984 when O'Brien is torturing Winston Smith, and he's saying, how many fingers am I holding up? And Winston keeps saying, you're holding up 3 fingers. No, how many fingers? And, you know, he's getting tortured. And I don't know, however many fingers you want. That's when Winston is broken.
Yeah.
And it's the same sort of paradigm with Egwene. When she is finally tortured so far that she has abandoned all thought of resistance is when she can she can take the pitcher, fill Rena's cup, and Rena dumps it on the ground and says, "Good girl." She is broken. But before that, we should talk about the lesson in channeling.
The lesson, oh my god.
There's a tree outside of Egwene's window that gives her comfort when she looks at it.
And of course, Rena knows. Rena knows that tree gives her comfort because through the Adam, she can, feel the emotions. You can feel your damane, what they're feeling, what they're thinking. Not obviously exactly what they're thinking, but like that energy, the vibes, shall we say. And so she knows that this tree, this beautiful tree that's growing with flowers, the first night that Egwene is there, she crawls up and looks out the window and sees this tree, and it brings her hope. And so Rena brings Egwene over and is like, all right, feels better now that we are complete, when she puts the wristband on. And it's like, look at the tree, Egwene. I know it gives you comfort. Reach out for it. Search for its roots. And then starts walking through, following the roots up, finding the sap. Let's heat up the sap. Give it power. Give it emotion. Like, give it the heat. And then it burns the tree down. And Egwene can't control it. She cannot make a difference and do anything other than what Rena wants.
And Rena's ecstatic. You can see it. I think the episode's title, Eyes Without Pity, are predominantly about Rena and her heavily coal lined eyes, because it's just the way she looks at Egwene and the way she just says kind things but tortures and beats the hell out of her.
Yeah, because there's no pity here, because this is expected. This is absolutely expected. This
is a process. This is the process.
Yeah.
This is what they do. They've got it down to a science.
There's one point that she says, like, some of the most powerful damane are the hardest to be trained.
The hardest to break.
To break. And so she's like expecting this. This is all that she's excited, I guess, to
and
have
this is such an irony with all of Egwene's little jealousy of Nynaeve, powerful channeler in 1,000 years. It's like, hasn't the White Tower told you how much potential you have?
How special you are.
Yeah, how special you are. And the tree thing was especially brutal, and I loved hated the juxtaposition with Loyal's tree singing, where he made it grow and blossom, and it was a thing of wonder. And what the Shan-Chan do is they almost take that, be one with the tree sort of thing and burn it the fuck down.
Yep.
Can I say the fuck down on this podcast?
Well, you know what? You did. So we'll probably keep it, but it's fine. No one tell Jason.
Burn it down.
But
it's raw and hurtful and terrifying, and it just makes you feel gross. But God, is this effective stuff?
This
is effective television.
And Egwene just keeps looking worse and worse. There's
blood in her eyeballs,
are bleeding right there. She's got blood vessels burst in her eyes.
Well, and I will say, for the continuity fans, or the lack of continuity, I don't know, in one of the beginning things, when Egwene has the huge red scratch wound on her cheek, it switches cheeks a couple times.
Oh, really? Oh.
Yeah. So look out for that in that little montage where there's a couple bits and it looks like she's walking back and forth and like wandering. It's on the right side a couple times, even though we know it's on the left. So keep your eyes open for that. But this whole thing is just built up to the moment where she finally gives in, and then she drinks water, because of course, if you can't touch the jug, you cannot use it to bathe, to drink, to do any of that.
Yeah. So the thirst is there. She's being broken on all levels. And we should mention that somewhere midway, she hears another woman's voice in the cell adjacent, basically just reciting the rules of a Damani. And, you know, she's trying to say, hey, my name is Egwene. I'm,
hi, friend.
You're okay. We're you know, this isn't, we're not Damani. We aren't subhuman. But the voice just keeps repeating it. And now at the very end, after Egwene is broken, the woman decides to speak with her and says, yeah, you lasted longer than I did, and I was a sitter for the Blue Aja. When we see who she is, it's Megan, who in season 1, was talking to Maureen about, there's some problems going on. There's some ships and some bad people coming ashore. So she was apparently one of the people sent to deal with the Shanshan, and was Ryma's friend, and she has also been broken. A full Aes Sedai.
And the head of the Blue Aja,
who had a lot of status. Who was a sitter for the Blue Aja at least, and
no, Maureen defers to her as the head in season 1.
So a woman of very high status,
very high
power, who's become a dog. Who's adopted her position as
worse than property. And it's absolutely heartbreaking. And what a frickin' way to leave the episode. Holy cow.
Like I said at the beginning, I think a lot of people, a lot of fans, a lot of viewers are going to have trouble with this episode.
I think so too,
there's a lot of horrible things happening and no catharsis yet. And we have to wait a week now.
I know, right?
to get any catharsis out of that. And
it's gonna be a rough one. Yeah. But it's coming up from here, and we book readers will kind of know what's coming up. But of course, if you have not read the books and you would like to not be spoiled or be a part of this conversation, we're going to enter the spoiler horn here, because after this we'll be discussing the books. So feel free to skip this chapter and head to the end, and we will talk to you soon. Okay, so first off, you made a really good point, Rajiv, about Eyes Without Pity. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah. So in the books, this was actually in the first book, a chapter called Eyes Without Pity, and it was Shanshan adjacent, but not quite Shanshan. So, Egwene and Perrin and Elias are running from the White Cloaks and from ravens that are murderous, and they shelter in next to this shattered statue of Arthur Hawkwing, and there's this big eye, a stone eye, and Perrin notes that it's sort of this stern eye without pity. There's a very Shelley's Ozymandias poem sort of captured in that. And it also dealt with the ravens who were chasing them, black eyes without pity. Here, I think, Hawkwing is associated with the Shanshan. He was the ancestor, or I should say the Shanshan were descendants of Arthur Hawkwing in the book. And ravens, of course, are their symbol. But the eyes without pity here are Renna's.
Definitely.
She is a ruthless, horrible person who thinks she is doing the right thing.
The colonizing aspect of this is difficult for anyone that maybe hasn't come to terms with that, maybe how do I say this nicely? Maybe Americans aren't,
Yeah.
you know, God-given right, you know, manifest destiny, ownership of things, coming in and telling people what they should do. But you look at this and you have this society that thinks that they know better, that thinks that they own, you know, the elite, that are the powerful, that know how to manage this, that are coming in and just being like, look, y'all don't know what you're doing. You need to keep it together, because this is like what is even happening. I don't even know. So you need to stop, because you suck.
There's a lot of online discourse about the Shanshan, and you know, whether you know, they can be categorized as evil. You know, is morality relative to the culture, etc., etc. I don't want to wade into that, but I do want to drop a book recommendation, and this is relevant to the Wheel of Time. There is a series called The Burning, and it's written by author Evan Winter. And Evan Winter is actually a Wheel of Time fan. And what he wrote, the first book of this series is called The Rage of Dragons. Second is The Fires of Vengeance. And there are some very familiar plot elements for Wheel of Time readers, but he takes on the idea of a caste system and of power that belongs to the elite, and the kind of injustice and the exercise of power by the powerful against the powerless, and the rebellion against that, and what it means to resist that. Those are themes that Winter takes on, you know, just head on, and he does it very, very well. And it's a rollicking good read. You know, only the second book of the series is out so far. I think the third is coming soon. But it's any Wheel of Time fan who wants a little more of this sort of theme addressed and talked about, and still wants a great epic fantasy with you know, African Bronze Age trappings. Check out The Burning by Evan Winter.
I'm excited. Excited.
Yeah. Good stuff. Totally good stuff.
I am also excited to kind of see what Lanfear's little commentary about Moraine means. Because of course Lanfear is like, if I see Maureen again, I'll kill her. And I think that this means that we will get this death sooner than expected, and definitely not through the arches. We've talked about this before. We don't necessarily know for sure how many seasons Rosamund Pike is going to be a part of. It kind of seems like it's being set up to possibly be 2 seasons. It would be easy enough to kind of manipulate and manage this to happen to where it's like, this is the end of her. Lanfear and Maureen get in a fight, or possibly in season 3. We'll see what happens. But that also, you know, pairs with the idea of Maureen being stilled. I think that we will still get Swan and Leanne being stilled, but in the future, and then that's when Nynaeve will heal. And I don't think Maureen's going to come back. She might show up at the very, you know, end, just be like, haha, Rosamund Pike is back. But probably not.
Take a bow.
Yeah.
So we're talking about what happens in the Fires of Heaven.
Yes.
In the books, Moiraine knows Lanfear is out there, knows she's after Rand, and knows that having her influence on Rand is a bad thing. And so Moiraine decides to sacrifice herself, at least as far as she knows, to take Lanfear off the board. And she ends up facing Lanfear. She lays a trap for Lanfear, essentially. Baits it with an angriel, and then they both Moraine rushes her. They both fall into a portal to another dimension, and the portal burns down, and they both aren't seen for several books. So the idea is that she's written a letter. In the books, it's to
Thom.
In the books, it's to Rand, actually.
She's
got another one to Thom. There's a few letters she writes. But, we don't see the end of the letter she's writing to Siuan now. And this may be a setup for when she dies, taking out Lanfear, then Siuan will get the letter, or somebody will get the letter that she wrote saying, hey, I did it for the greater good.
Possibly. Especially because even though Siuan is there, that is not the servant necessarily wasn't given those instructions. It was said to give it to a blue Aes Sedai, so it might not be sent to who it needs to be sent to.
Right.
It might come later.
Its destination.
Yeah.
Well, and the parallel with that is that she writes it, my dearest Siuan, and in the book it's my dearest Thom is the one that gets mad on the path to the Tower of Genji.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. Which will probably not happen, I'm guessing.
I really hope not.
It's strange that they would use that same wording, though.
Like, I think that almost makes it more powerful to be like, okay, look, book readers, hey, you know that this is what it was going to be. We're just letting you know we're gonna set this up. That hey,
we know about this, but we're not gonna go into this other dimension with fairy folk and. All of
we might still get the other dimension, just not for Moraine.
Fair enough.
But who knows? Honestly,
who knows?
Yeah. There's so many. I don't know. And again, I swear we say this every single time. It's so much fun.
Yes,
it's so
exciting.
Much fun.
All right. So book readers, if you've read book 2, that ... I'm being slow, so you can shut off if you haven't finished book 2.
Listen,
we sounded the alarm.
Yeah.
Ingtar's a dark friend in the
Yes.
books. He's a prisoner of the Shanshan right now, and he's looking for the horn right now. Maureen, Kathy, what do you think? Is Ingtar a dark friend in the show?
Oh,
I think
absolutely.
So. Yeah.
No doubt about it.
No doubt about it. They
that
set up
much guy liner is.
Yeah, okay. No, not at all. Anyone is hot with guy liner. I think it comes down to the fact that they put that foreshadowing, that beautiful piece of conversation when they're burying the wolf the thing, the rest of the dark friends. I think they would not have put that foreshadowing there if it was not actual foreshadowing.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's absolutely.
Yeah, and he's still intent on the horn, which is he thinks is his salvation.
Yep. Because he thinks he can save himself and for whatever reason that he became a dark friend too. Yeah. We don't know what his reasoning was.
In the books, at least, we know that Ingtar thought that he lives on the Borderlands, he fights the Shadow every day, and he came to the conclusion that they could not possibly win. So they needed some sort of accord. That's why he became a dark friend, is that he basically wanted to save humanity.
Yep.
And he says, well, better to have an alliance and live than to be crushed under the forces of the Shadow.
Yep.
So that's why he became a dark friend in the books. And he's sort of redeemed in the book as well. By the end of The Great Hunt, he's the one who says, look, I made some mistakes, but no man is so far in the shadow that he cannot find the light again. And he holds a pass against the enemies and see our heroes to escape. Maybe that happens again. We'll see.
Yeah, I hope so.
And
it was a good plot.
Yeah, I liked it. And I think that would really lay up this idea of, redeeming qualities that is so strong in
Totally.
the story.
And maybe it might set up the path for Leandrin to be redeemed.
Maybe.
No.
No, Maureen
I don't want that. No.
She is a great villain.
Yeah.
She is, yes.
But damn, she is tortured.
Uh-huh.
And she keeps getting tortured.
Yeah.
This latest with Lanfear is, the things she had to live for is gone now.
Yep.
And, her advice to Nynaeve is then find the next thing that you live for that is yours.
Yes.
I think she's hitched her wagon to Nynaeve now, and I wouldn't put it past him to say Nynaeve is Leandrin's path to redemption. But,
possible.
We'll see.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, these characters definitely are a lot more gray area than black and white as they are in the books.
Yes,
Absolutely.
which I freaking love
Yes.
so much.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
While we're on this talk of dark friends, Alvir and Barthanes. Do we think that they are dark friends?
I don't know. Maybe. Because we keep seeing these people that are gorgeous, but monsters. And so, he just kind of fits that. Especially when everybody's insisting, oh, he's just like father. He's sweet and he's kind and he's blah, 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 blah. So maybe.
Yeah, I think I can see it being... So I don't think Alvir is, but I definitely think Barthanes is. And I think that this is kind of, again, this conversation of, who you can still be kind and be a dark friend, it's not, there's so many layers and levels here, and I think it would make sense, and that's kind of why he's gonna marry the queen to kind of take over and take and win that.
So I can see it happening. I don't know necessarily how it would further the plot one way or the other, but this plot has taken so many twists and turns that I haven't foreseen that I'm willing to say I can be surprised. Like Lanfear killing Leandrin's son, did not see that coming.
No.
Right, yeah.
Not at all.
Did not see that at all.
So it's all open for me. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, in the books, Carrion, after Thom kills King Galdrian, there's fighting for the Sun Throne, and then the Aiel come and sack it, and then it's just in turmoil. So I think it needs to get to that state. So there has to be something that happens there to get it in this state of turmoil, and it could be Barthanes turns out to be a dark friend, or other weird things going on if he marries
or something
Queen Galdrian.
Horrible happens at a wedding wedding,
right? Yeah, get our own little red wedding going on.
Right.
That's possibly where Lanfear and Moraine have their confrontation, is somewhere there, and then it just lays waste to Carrion.
Yeah.
But I think that all may be true. The action is pointed towards Falm.
I think this might be a season 3.
Oh, definitely.
Plot
Or 4
point. Even 4. Especially as we add in Camelin, and as we add in the dragon, taking ownership of different countries. It's an easy way to kind of transfer that. Who knows? Barthanes could also be a Forsaken, maybe it's another Demandred.
It's Samael. No. One thing I wanted to bring up, there was a little line dropped when Raima was talking about why she was sent to investigate the Shanshan. Rumors of strange beasts. Now, there's been a lot of speculation online whether we'll see the Shanshan exotics, the animals, the Grom, the Quorum, the other things I can't pronounce, the crazy three-eyed animals, the six-legged animals.
Shredded.
Yes. So basically, dragons and elephants and
big lizards
and lizard
frogs.
cats.
Yes.
Oh,
yes. So I think there might be a special effects budget for this because they did drop rumors of strange beasts.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Or they might just have elephants, and that'll be cool too.
Right?
Yeah.
Totally awesome. Or like elephants with a added thing to it or something. I don't know.
2 trunks.
Yes. Either way, I love the idea of just kind of I think we'll have bits of it. I think they'll come out during the fight. Yeah. Obviously, around town, they're not going to be.
There's going to be a final battle at the end of the season.
Yeah,
we're pretty sure that's going to happen. Ishamael and Rand in the skies above Thom, the last battle, the Horn of Valier, all of that is coming together.
Yeah.
So.
There's 2 more episodes. That's crazy to think that we're almost all done.
If Matt comes in and that's his Han Solo moment where he says, "Oh, we're losing. We could use an army.
I got this. I just happened to find this thing.
Who says it can't be blown before the last battle? Let me do that." And he just does something crazy and saves the day in the most spectacular fashion. I would feel so very good about that because God damn, I love Matt this season. I wish I saw more of him.
Yeah.
And
it's so good.
Yeah, in the books, Matt didn't get interesting until book 3, and I'm glad that he's coming into that.
Yeah.
Matt we like at the very end, the end, like we think of as Matt a lot sooner.
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
Yep. And speaking of that kind of idea of, coming into your own, like becoming the character, I'm really impressed with this balance of which version of Rand you are, he is, everything. Like, I'm this delicate, like, gotta make the choices that I have to make, wrestling with himself and the internal, like, what level of good I need to do type of thing that's going on, I think is just so incredibly done. And I'm really impressed with Yosha.
Yes. Yeah. Well, if you think about Rand's character in the TV show, he's had, 4 extra years in the 2 Rivers. And, in the books, he's young and he's still impressionable and he still has some growing to do, but now he's an adult. And so he's set in his ways. And I think he's a little bit more grounded and a lot less unshakable, shakeable.
Yeah. And it makes it more realistic as opposed to just, the 2 Rivers folks are stubborn.
Mm-hmm.
Which was just kind of the answer for everything in the books. Like, this is just so much more dynamic, which I really appreciate.
Yeah.
Anything else we're missing?
Oh, let's see. Well, we talked about it a little bit. Is Maureen stilled or is she shielded?
I think she's shielded.
Or if she's gonna die, does it matter?
I think she's still steeled. She's steelded. I think she's stilled. I think she's gonna die. And I think the this just gives you this lesson of what happens when you're like taken away to give a better essence and storyline for Swan and Leanne.
Yeah.
When the tower happens.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's possible.
I mean, I'm trying to think of her character as an arc, and she started out with a single-mindedness on this mission. She executed the mission to a certain extent, and then worse things happened that she didn't foresee, so she sort of says, okay, now I'm gonna let fate determine it. I'm gonna let go a little bit of it. But she's also gonna do this, if our theory is correct, she's gonna perform this self-sacrifice that saves Rand. I'm not sure how satisfied I am with that.
Mm-hmm.
I'd have to see it play out, of course, but like on one hand, she's trusting fate, and on the other hand, she's also saying, I've got to interfere and do something wild and bold.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, how do we reconcile that? The control freak Maureen, the Maureen who trusts fate to let it happen, and the Maureen who makes a sacrifice. I can't connect those dots yet, but I'm sure the show will.
Yeah,
will come
I'm
out.
sure they'll tell us.
Well, going back to what the sister said about, is it true?
Yes.
You know, so does she see that there's another option, that she has to sacrifice herself to save Rand? And if that is true, then I think she wouldn't even hesitate.
Yeah, I agree. All right, is that it?
Then, I think we've covered
we're
it.
covered?
What do you think is going to happen next?
Well, one thing I want to talk about real quick is Min's viewing of Matt killing Rand. Because we talked a little bit about stabbing doesn't mean death, but
God.
Min actually said, you kill him. So what do we think that's going to be? Because we know Min's viewings always come true.
I mean,
so is that true for the show?
Yeah, I don't know. It could be not true for the show. It could also be a misidentification. Like they alter that, they make that adjustment a little bit to add a little bit of, flexibility. Or if it happens this season, or if it happens later. I don't know. Mm-hmm.
But if it happens this season, then it's got to be like someone taking on the guise of Rand and Matt stabbing him.
Yeah, or something.
Because he's not gonna kill Rand, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, above the skies of Falme, Rand gets stabbed by Ishi. Like maybe there's some kind of prophecy, like his blood needs to stone. So Matt's like, "Hey, I better stab him."
Maybe.
Yeah. So in the books, the Shadar Logoth dagger was the opposite number of the Dark One's corruption, and so when Ashamael kind of hit him with the staff in the side and created this wound, a slash with the dagger sort of fought that corruption with its own corruption, and they just fought each other and held each other at bay.
Yeah.
I don't think we've established that metaphysics here.
I don't think
fact,
so either.
I don't think there's a difference between Shadar Logoth's evil and the Dark One's evil. I think they're represented in exactly the same way. So while that would be an interesting theory for it, I don't know if they're going to go in that direction. I'm pretty sure they're not.
Yeah.
So I know I'm just looking forward to Moraine and Suan in episode 7. Like that's just what I want to see.
I'm so excited for that. I'm so excited for Egwene. Do we think she'll probably won't be escaped?
I think that's for the last episode.
Yeah, until 8. So listen, I am a professional podcaster, okay? I'm very good with my words. So it'll be interesting to see the building of her being broken and the training that she gets in this next episode. And that heartbreaking bit. Maybe we'll see Perrin again next epised.
I hope so.
Because he wasn't in this one. Matt and Perrin are trading off.
They should arrive in Falme with Avienda.
And are the White Cloaks going to show up too? I don't know.
I think so.
Let's find out.
Here's the other thing that I'm hoping that came from the books. We alluded to it before. So there is a scene in book 2 in The Great Hunt where Rand faces Swan, and we know that's going to happen because we've seen it in the previews. But one of my personal favorite sequences is where Lan basically coaches Rand how to stand up to powerful people, how to be, how to act, how to carry himself, how to be a man. Now, that was a younger Rand in the books.
Yeah.
But and I think Rand does a fairly good job of blustering and standing up for himself anyway. But I would love to see that level of mentorship between Lan and Rand. Because, we missed out on the sword training.
Yeah.
We missed out on this sort of Lan's loyalties going towards the Emmons Field folk because of Nynaeve, and really imparting the sort of wisdom that he has. He is he's supposed to be this strong, capable guy who can face the Amyrlin, without flinching. And and in the books, he imparted some of that to Rand. I'd love to see just a bit of that. Cat walks across the courtyard with arrogance and pride, So I'm hoping we see a little bit of that before that confrontation.
Yep. I love that idea. We'll see. All right. Well, stay tuned to next week when we watch episode 7. Woo! Oh, my goodness. You can find links to follow us online in the show notes or on Dragonmount.com. On our website, we have so much great content about the Wheel of Time, including blog posts, chapter and episode summaries, news, as well as links to our YouTube channel that has so many great videos there. Also, on the website and all of our social media, come and celebrate our 25th birthday with us. Today, as we record this, September 19th, 2023, it is our 25th birthday. Dragonmount is 25 years old. Happy birthday! And we are celebrating all over the internet. And we would love to know how you learned about the Wheel of Time, how you found Dragonmount, and kind of what keeps coming you back. Bring this family together and celebrate with us. Also, make sure to check out our Patreon and our shop. Shop.dragonmount.com has a ton of great Dragonmount merch. I may or may not have designed a piece of merch from last show. We'll see if it passes the sniff test and if other people like it. But, stay tuned.
Nice.
Keep your eyes open. I've been Kathy Campbell.
I've been Rajiv Moté.
And Maureen Carr.
This is not the ending, but it is an ending. Thanks for listening, and we hope you have an absolutely incredible day.